Hello, my name is Eric Wikocha. My speech will be on self-awareness, and more specifically, Johari's window. The textbook states that there are four possible selves when interacting with one another. The four possible selves that are theorized by Joseph Lute and Harry Ingram exist within ourselves, and they include the open self, the blind self, the hidden self, and the unknown self. These four possible selves are ever changing, and they will fit whatever situation and whoever we're interacting with. So it is possible to have many different window sizes, different panel sizes to be specific. And an example of this would be how you interact with a teacher versus how you would interact with a parent. You might disclose a little bit more here, whereas you might hide a little bit in a different situation. Let's take a look at the different selves in detail. The open self is described as ideas and knowledge about yourself or others that are easily accessible. This would include things such as your name, your race, ethnicity, age, or political and religious affiliation, information that you share publicly. The blind self is described as information about yourself that others know, however, you might not know yourself. Things of this nature might be insignificant. Examples of this include your body odor, quirky habits such as playing with your hair when embarrassed, gestures made when angry. The textbook gives a couple of significant examples, such as fighting techniques or defense mechanisms. The hidden self is characterized by information you hold about yourself or others that you do not wish to disclose. Information relevance does not matter here. This includes information that you do not want to talk about or disclose while interacting with others. A portion of Johari's window, this portion of Johari's window, is distinct by two polar sides. You can either over-disclose or under-disclose. The unknown self contains information about yourself that neither you or others around you know. Things in this category are unknown to yourself because of the nature of learning new things about yourself constantly. These instances where you learn new information tends to be the result of being in new situations or certain circumstances that bring out traits in yourself that you had no idea were there. An example given by the textbook includes giving compliments to others with the hopes of them returning it to you. This model has extended itself to other areas such as organizational development. The work of Terry Armstrong illustrates how he uses Johari's window with his clients. He uses this model to better the communication styles of his clients. His rules for communicating effectively include asking questions and also telling others, disclosing and hiding. It follows the basic theme of disclosing oneself to others. For Armstrong, it is important to have a balance between the two. As you tell, make sure you listen. Also, as you listen, make sure you tell. The consequences of not having a healthy balance would be the same as having too much of one section of your Johari Windows panels dominate the rest. There are several consequences of ineffective communication styles. What Armstrong found throughout his career was that there were about four big things that came up often. The first one that he thought was fairly common was people getting blindsided. He thought that this was the result of people who'd like to talk a lot. They would self-disclose a lot. However, they would never really get information back. One story he uses is a man who would like to disclose a lot of information about himself. He would tell his wife everything about his day, about how he's feeling, his emotions, and he felt that his wife did the same to him. However, he never really understood his wife, what she was feeling, what she was thinking. He didn't ask those type of questions. He himself would just talk. So he would dominate that aspect of the relationship. So it came as a surprise to him when he got divorce papers. The second things that Armstrong felt a lot of his clients went through was a problem he called facade. So in this problem, his example that he gives is about a man who's making structural changes to his business. He gets a lot of feedback from investors and employees, and when he feels he has the appropriate measures to make structural changes and applies them, the pushback is really strong. He wonders to himself, why am I getting a lot of negative feedback for this? Well, one thing that he failed to account for was him telling the investors and the employees why he's making these structural changes. There wasn't a lot of telling of information from his side at least. Being was the unknown. This is an area where information does not flow freely. There's not a lot of communication between both parties. There's not a lot of listening. There's not a lot of talking. Information is held and information is not disclosed. He felt that in these cases it might be best to point clients and people he knew to professional help. However, whenever he did help, one of the techniques he used was creating individual Johari's windows for both parties involved. What he found was that once both individuals were done completing their window panels, he would compare and show each other how they felt they were in the relationship. If they felt they disclosed too much, the other would see. If they felt that they weren't being listened enough, the other would see that. In the hopes that they would both have an understanding of what's going on in the relationship. A good spot to be in is something he called the arena. This is one section of his Johari's window that he created. He felt was an area where information flowed pretty freely. It was about 80%, according to him, or higher. Of course, this leaves about 20 or so for information to be hidden, which isn't a pretty bad spot to be in. He felt that this was important in a relationship or any type of interacting that goes on between two parties or more, because, of course, there was information flowing pretty actively between ear and mouth. At the same time, there was also room for information to be hidden. But of course, there's a little bit more than just talking and receiving feedback, listening. He felt that this area of his panel was dominated by external factors such as how things are said. We all know people, of course, who could break down really complicated information into simple, easy bites to process. At the same time, there's also people who could really jumble up really simple information. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of my video. I really appreciate you guys watching it and leaving feedback on it. Till next time. See ya.